last time that we recorded this, we were like, Metroid Prime 4 is gonna be in the direct, guys. It's happening.
Maybe it's a good thing that
Yeah.
it just didn't happen. I wanted to believe, but I don't know if you guys remember. I was kind of like, they might.
Skeptical.
Yeah.
I was skeptical as well. I was skeptical of Prime 4, but I thought we would get like a crumb. I thought we would get a Prime 2.
I thought like,
but yeah, it's just kind of crazy that they didn't give that nothing. Or like they could have done the thing they did with Tears of the Kingdom, where they were like, yeah, it's still coming. We just need more time, bro.
Just a little more
like
time
just
in
have
the
like
oven.
the dude.
Yeah.
Just have like the dude stand there and be like, "Hey, yo,
So
it's coming. Don't worry."
Technically, I did that actually. Not last week. They did it a while ago. So
It was when Dread, right?
Correct. Right. When they introduced Dread, they did make
they
mention,
did.
hey, development is going well. Right. Like they didn't. So at least as of E3, for those that don't believe any of the rumors or anything like that, if you don't believe squat, at least as of E3 2021, Metroid Prime 4 is not canceled. Right. So, I could tell you other reasons, but in terms of like straight from Nintendo's mouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
E3's canceled, but not Metroid
But
Prime
not
4.
Metroid Prime 4. Not yet.
Yeah, hey, if we still get Prime 4, and I'm playing through Prime 2 right now, ever since that most recent direct, just out of spite, because I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna play it whether I get the remaster or not.
God damn it!
So, and I'm just having it's such a joy going back through it. I'm already back in the Torvis, after one
Nice.
just 4-hour like chunk Friday evening, but it's exciting.
I'm ready for Master Chief to beat Samus.
I know, dude.
100%.
It's time for they get married, man. Just Space Marine times 2 equals. I don't even know. What was that? Just Space
That just
Marine
makes
baby?
me a little jealous because I got Samus.
Yes, Samus is. Yeah, Samus is.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to the Boost View Podcast. Here on the Boost View Podcast, we like to talk about Nintendo games new and old, give them a review, and maybe a look back in retrospect. Today's episode, however, is about an old/new game, new but also old at the same time. The Metroid Prime remaster and the rest of the series as well. We're going to touch on a little bit of everything here. Focus mainly on the Prime remaster, but if we talk about Metroid Prime 2 or 3, yeah, who's gonna stop us? Yeah, who's gonna stop us?
Yeah.
But before we get into that, my name is Favlam.
Hello, my name is Gabe, or Excellion96.
And we have a wonderful, beautiful, amazing guest with us today. Andres, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Andres Restart. You may have heard lightning in the background. I apologize. Or thunder. But, yeah.
It'll add character. It'll add engagement.
Yeah, but I am here, and I'm ready to talk about Nintendo and Metroid. It's good. I think it's going to be a good time. And I'm recording this time, so...
Yeah. So, last time, we recorded this the weekend before the Nintendo Direct, for anybody that the first time, and Andres did not hit record button by accident, which is fine. It was
a new setup, but it showed the red record button. I thought it was okay. I'm sorry. I feel bad.
That's like the worst feeling ever. After I'm sure that's happened with you, but before on your side as well with your channel, Andres, just something you're like, oh my god, I had this muted this whole time. Oh my god, I had this unplugged or whatever, and you're like,
it's happened.
Yeah, I've
done that many times.
I've encountered that too. So yeah, today we're talking about Metroid Prime. We're talking about Metroid Prime, the original, the remaster. We're gonna rate it and all that jazz. That's such a cool double case looking thing.
Isn't it? Yeah, look at that. That's Prime right there, obviously, and then that's the Prime 2 demo bonus disc or whatever. Lets you try out the first area in Prime 2 a little bit.
That's pretty sick. I need to beat it. I'm about to do like a shit ton of traveling, so I think I'm gonna officially beat Prime 1 on the plane, and then I'm also gonna beat Pikmin 4. I gotta beat that. I gotta actually get all the way through it.
You're not gonna speedrun with your Pro controller? With your
might-
360-degree pro controller.
I hate
Mario.
it. It's gonna suck. I mean, I might do that too because I might have to practice because I have a stream coming up.
That's true. I saw that. Yeah.
I'm debating on if I should make that one the shave the mustache stream or if I should make a later stream one. But anyways,
One of the briefcases.
oh my gosh, the briefcases. How did you like that game? Did you
That
get
was
to
fun.
watch that?
I watched a little bit of it this weekend, or when was it? It was it Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah, we were. I was out with my family, but I touched base here and there, and then I had to watch a movie with Quinn's parents and blah blah blah. So it was a fun night, but yeah, it was in the background kind of thing.
Well, thanks. So, anyways, we're talking about Metroid Prime. We got off topic
Oh, yeah,
there for a
that's one
second.
game.
You're good. Yeah, that's one thing. So, let's talk about how we first experienced the game. I told the story last time. Tell it again. Sorry, you two have to hear it again, but we're gonna tell it again just for the pod. So, I encountered Metroid Prime for the first time via going to GameStop. So I went, I know, wow, Austin, you went to GameStop. I tell you, I promise it's interesting. So I would go like spend the summers or like a good portion of my summer, like a month long or whatever of summers with my grandparents. And my mom would give me like an allowance and be like, okay, here's your allowance for like the summer. So, you know, you can go buy food. And I mean, maybe if you want to go buy some trinkets, sure, but just don't spend it all in one place. I immediately spent it all in one place. I went to GameStop and I went and I was like, what games do you guys got? I want to get a game. I want to get some stuff. And then they were like, well, we have this special deal on GameCubes because this is when Wii U was new, like brand new. Wii was like, and so GameCube was like the third oldest thing now. And so it's like, it was in that weird stage of nobody wants it. And it hasn't come back around for nostalgia value. So I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, here's a used GameCube and two controllers for $50. And I was like, that's crazy. I'll get it. I'll take it. So I took it. And then I was like, what games do you got? And I had played GameCube before. Like I used to own a GameCube. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can get my GameCube back. I don't know what happened to my original GameCube, but it's lost to the sands of time. But I have this one now. And it's the same one that I've had. That's the same one I bought at the GameStop. And they gave me Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii, and they gave me one of the Pokemon Coliseum games, and I gotta look at the collection. I know there's so many. Star Wars Rogue, whatever, like the one of the Rogue games, Star Wars Rogue, like pilot games.
Gotcha.
For another
the
$50
launch title. I think it was Rogue Squadron.
Yeah,
2.
one of the. I think that's what it was.
That one
Rogue
was made by
Squadron.
like I think it was called Factor 5. They no longer exist anymore, but they were always known for like making like the most high tech like space flying games. Like they were amazing.
They were
Yeah.
so good.
They should have made a Star Fox game. They should have. I think at one point they
Star Fox fans need to
almost
eat.
did, but you know these things fall through a lot.
Star Fox fans have starved to death. They got a they got a crumb on the 3DS, and it just wasn't it. But yeah, I spent my entire summer allowance, or at least like a month worth of it, at a GameStop immediately. It's like the first week I was home, and then my grandparents were like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "But GameCube."
But GameCube and all these other games.
Yeah, I was like 12, I think, at the time. So
Right.
You know. How did you guys? Then I just played the game, and I never beat it originally, so it is what it is because I couldn't figure it out. But how did you guys originally first play this game? We'll start with Andres. You start us off.
So my first experience with Metroid Prime, one of the greatest games ever made, was on the Nintendo GameCube as well, pretty much at launch. So I got the GameCube in its second year. So GameCube launched in 2001 with, I think, I don't remember exactly, but there was Melee, Luigi's Mansion, and Rogue Squadron 2, I believe, in the first year. You may have just heard a whole bunch of thunder.
Damn.
Holy shit!
Every time I drop some
God.
truth, the thunder just blasts like right out my window. Yeah. So, but anyways,
That was crazy.
2002. That's when I got my GameCube for Christmas.
Another crash of thunder.
Yeah.
2002.
Yeah. And so the way it worked for me, like I got the GameCube a little early. Like they let me get the GameCube with Mario Sunshine first, And like
Based.
Metroid Prime was just kind of looming, like it was like hidden in the Christmas tree, and it was like I kept like just like this super like at the time for me, I couldn't imagine a game that could possibly look any better from a graphics perspective. And yeah, so like when I finally got a chance to play Metroid Prime, and you go through the space frigate, and it's just such a cool thing. But yeah, that's how I was first introduced to Metroid Prime, and I was a little kid, so it definitely left its imprints on me. It was a big influence growing up for me.
You're part of the Nintendo pipeline now, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, my first system was N64, so I was already a bit of a Nintendo kid. But I did have a moment though, because when we were getting that GameCube, like there was a choice that I was given. It's like, hey, you can get a PS2 with 4 games, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, but I want Mario and this Metroid Prime game. Like, why would I?
But I want quality.
Yeah. You can make it 8 PS2 games. I still want Metroid Prime and Mario Sunshine.
No, I mean, so there's something, I don't know, there's something weird about the GameCube where it, like, obviously it didn't perform very well on its day. And, oh man, it's so obvious. This is going to be great. It's going to make so many good clips and just like, it's bad when like the Discord noise, whatever, doesn't suppress it. That's how bad the storm's going. Anyways, GameCube era games just in general was like such a weird time because like the GameCube console I think is so underrated. And I don't mean that in terms of like, because there's obviously lots of hardcore fanboys for the console. Like it's not underrated in that sense, but I think it's just like the GameCube had such a quality of life to it, like especially in its games. Like a lot of the games of the GameCube era did not feel like, they all felt very polished, very finished, way ahead of their time. I mean, and you can see that in how Nintendo is approaching their strategy of putting them on the Switch. They're not like porting it through an emulator. They're like making a full remaster of these games, and they're built on the similar-ish engine, sometimes the same, sometimes not, porting them over. And like, I don't know, I think it's just, GameCube is a very impressive console in general, I think, and especially when you compare it to PS2. And I'm not saying there aren't great games on PS2, but like I remember playing PS2, and like, yeah, there was plenty of games on it. Like I used to play like Star Wars Battlefront on PS2 all the time, ate that stuff up. Oh my god, I love Star Wars Battlefront. And like it had plenty of its own charm as well, but I don't know, it just never felt, I don't know, GameCube games just had this like weird like richness to them that always felt like, all right, yeah, this feels like there's always something more. Even like the very little things felt like really meaningful.
You always have that Nintendo polish, right? Console. Like Nintendo games.
Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
There are exceptions, but
there are. That's right. The thunder has spoken.
Exactly.
The thunder has spoken.
But yeah, I mean, like just in general that Nintendo quality, and also something else with the GameCube that was kind of neat was that because they used the mini discs, which did create problems with third parties, but there was also benefits. It allowed the GameCube to read discs way quicker than the other systems, right? So PS2 had like really, really slow load times, and the GameCube, it was like
it did. I do remember that. Yeah,
it was so fast. Like so, like playing games on game. It was dedicated to playing games. Like the PS2, like it was also like a DVD player, which was kind of crazy back then because their DVD players were already really expensive. It's part of the reason why PS2 was so successful. But like GameCube, like it was a really good dedicated gaming device until you wanted to go online. Then it was doo doo. But yeah, it was pretty special.
Which I forget that GameCube even had like online features, but it was so like in theory it was so janky. Yeah. I've always wanted to like. I don't even know how you would do this. It probably costs so much money. I've always wanted to do like an online double dash tournament where everybody's playing like one person's playing like the front character, one person's playing the back character, and they swap like those, because you can do that. You can hook up to like 16. You can have 16 people play at the same time through their like online thing. Obviously, way easier to do it through Dolphin, but I think it'd be a really cool way to like conduct something. I don't even know if Dolphin could even support 16 people at the same time though. So I'm sure it would lag to hell and blah, blah, blah. I wonder how I wonder if it would desync at all, like if you did that with the GameCubes. But anyways, getting way off topic again. Gabe, how did you first encounter Metroid Prime 1?
So Metroid Prime 1, I actually played second, just like with Halo. It was Halo 2 first and then Halo 1 second. But I do remember, I'm pretty sure I did get it from GameStop as well. We got the GameCube, Metroid Prime 2, and Wind Waker for Christmas, I think in late 04. And then, me and David played the hell out of both of those games. Love Zelda, love Metroid, love Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. Maybe a year or two later, tops, Metroid Prime 1, I was like, okay, well, there's Prime 2, there's obviously a Prime 1, and this was when we were nearing the Wii, of course, because it was probably like late 2005, early 6, the Wii was here, and so Metroid Prime 3 was on its way, I think in 07 was when it released, but Prime 1 itself, GameStop, I bought it one day along with my second favorite Mario game, which is Sunshine, and Prime 1, I loved it. I was like, oh my god, dude, this feels so familiar, obviously, because the controls are practically the same, if not the same from what I remember. It's been a long time. But I just remember it had that same charm that I loved about Prime 2. I do prefer 2 over 1, but I still loved Prime 1's experience overall with, my the first time I played it, and then, going through it, I was like, oh my god, this is like just so cool to see the different environments. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure I stayed up all night playing it the first night I got it, all night, like as a kid, until like 3 or 4 in the morning. Because it was, I think I remember it being the weekend.
Time felt slower back then, right? So 3 to 4 hours back then was huge.
That was 12 hours. Yeah.
There's on that topic, it's again not related to Prime, but man, I'm just filling it at this point. Right. On that nostalgia kick, there was 2 instances in my life that always stick out to me that have that charm of like, oh, I was up till God knows when, just vibing and living my best life. One, I was playing Minecraft on the Xbox with like my friends, but then I had there was a point where they all got off, and then I just kept going, and I had music just blasting, and literally time felt like it had melted away. And I wasn't even looking at the clock. I was just in the game. I was just like, that is like the most immersed I've ever felt in a game ever in my life, is just like being in Minecraft at 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning. And then you see the sunrise come up and you're like, oh, fuck.
It's time to go to bed.
But another time that happened, it was another Minecraft instance, was me and my friends loved Minecraft growing up. It was like, we had it on Pocket Edition. We had it on the little phone, right?
Oh yeah.
And we had it on our iPods, iPods. That's what we had. We like the iPod Touch, and it was just like, we stayed up and we were playing, because you could play like proximity, like Bluetooth, like multiplayer, because we all didn't have PCs and we all didn't have it on Xbox yet, so we were like playing it that way, and we kept like running out of battery, and we didn't all have our chargers, or there wasn't enough outlets. I think that's what it was. So we would like rotate who was on the outlet, and so somebody would be on the outlet for a while, and then be like, oh, all right, let's switch around, and then somebody else would plug up. And I mean, again, we just played and played and played, and it was like way back in the day of the Pocket Edition, where it was in that really janky mode where it wasn't even actually full Minecraft. It was like that weird creative mode where you had infinite bricks and infinite certain materials, but you didn't have other materials, and it was really just fun, Anyways, again, sorry. Last tangent, I promise. I just, you said that, it made me think of like, those are great memories.
Cool memory unlocked.
So we talk about, so obviously like Metroid has defined a genre, Metroidvanias. Metroid and Castlevania define a genre of gaming, literally, that is seen till this day. That Hollow Knight is expanded and, mastered, I would say. And you see even in Metroid Dread. How do you think they translated the Metroidvania genre from 2D to 3D, and do you think they did it well? Where were the pitfalls? I'll let Andres start on this one.
So it's interesting because Nintendo didn't have like the perfect idea of what they wanted to do with Metroid for the first 3 years into the 3D era, because we didn't have a Metroid game on Nintendo 64. And then when Retro Studios was formed, based off of Iguana Entertainment, like some key developers became Retro Studios, which they made the Turok games, and there were some of the Turok games on N64 were kind of epic. Like there were those first-person shooters that were really cool back then. But like there was definitely like a transition period, and it wasn't until our boy Shigeru Miyamoto came in, saw the project. Retro Studios was working like 4 or 5 different games at the time, and one of them was a third-person Metroid game. And Miyamoto's
wow.
how about you make this into first person, which was a relatively new concept at the time, right? And then with Halo was really kind of popularizing it. Halo came out around the same time as Metroid, but the point is I guess at the time they thought this could be like a really good way to make it feel immersive. Which is kind of the cool concept about first person. We kind of take it for granted now because it's so commonplace. But the idea of going into first person, it's kind of it's making you feel like you're in the world, right? So Retro Studios they pivoted, right? They focused on just Metroid Prime, and they made this into this first person game. And they actually did different things to kind of make it feel more immersive. So as you would move in first person and you would do jumps, they would actually do like a camera shift to kind of balance out the movement, because when you move in first person, it can it makes things a bit challenging. Anyways, that's not necessarily for Metroidvania, which is kind of like them trying to envision the Metroid series into 3D.
It's part of the translation.
Exactly. But then you kind of look at just the overall design of the game. How it's there's a lot of backtracking, it's collecting power-ups, and when you get one power-up you find another. That core essence of what a Metroidvania is, that was translated perfectly. Is there room for improvement? I think so. You look at what they've done with Metroid Dread, how it has some fast travel points. In general, games, have different things like that. You look at how Samus moved in Metroid Prime and 2, she almost felt very tanky, but Samus in the 2D games is very agile. So I would like to see, with a more modern take on the Metroid Prime series, a more agile Samus, which when you consider what they've done with more modern first-person shooters like Titanfall or Mirror's Edge, where there's a lot more kind of free running and things of that nature. I'm not saying that's exactly how Metroid Prime 4 is going to be, but a lot of those concepts are more commonplace now. They probably could find a way to find maybe more of a happy middle ground and speed up that gameplay a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I the first thing that comes to mind is Titanfall is something where I mean it'd be sick to see Samus running on the wall, and then maybe throwing using grapple beam to swing, and just something that flows. And that's just what I was describing this last time is when I was playing Dread, that's one of the things that hooked me about it was how everything felt like it flowed really fluidly and how fast paced it was, and it was just such a nice oh, this is
that
sick.
melee attack did wonders.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And it's one of the things that Hollow Knight I think is weak in, is Hollow Knight feels to me very floaty, at least maybe for the first bit of the game. I haven't beaten it, but at least for a bit it feels kind of floaty, kind of slow. And while Dread felt like it was just this constant choo 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 choo, and you're running, and if you're not getting the combos right, you're not going to get past this enemy. And I don't know. Something like that being I feel like in terms of the world, I think they did a pretty okay job. I mean, they kind of did this 3D platformer type thing, and I think we complained about this last time where there are just some puzzles that are just Ocarina of Time-esque, where it's oh, you just need to look up at this one thing and then there it is.
Yeah.
And I get that's the point of the game, especially because the whole point is she's exploring ruins and trying to find these old tablets and blah 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 blah. But when it's part of the game from a game flow perspective in that game loop, it can be even monotonous / break up the gameplay. Told this story last time as well. The beam, there was a time I was streaming this game and I could not figure out how to literally blast a certain thing off because using a certain beam, and Gabe had to explain it to me in chat. He was like, dude, do this and then you can get it. I was like, oh, okay, gotcha. But it's just, and again, it's not necessarily something that ruins the game by any means. It's fantastic still. It's just one of those things that kind of slows down that that loop of run, get through the room, do the thing. I don't know. I would love to see in a future modern sense that loop get sped up, and I think it'd be really fun to see. Yeah, Gabe, what about yourself? How do you think how well do you think they translated it? What things would you like to see improved? What things do you think were weak? What things do you think they did well in the original?
I think the whole first person thing, like Andreas was saying, immersion, they did great with immersion in the game. mostly because of that first person mode and the reflection of her face when, you know, she's in a dark spot and you use a missile or power beam or whatever and it creates the reflection on the wall. That's awesome. Love things like that. Yes, please give your game a character like that. Yes, thank you, Retro. Love you. But you know, obviously the music, the environment, it's lonely, this the alien world. You're like, oh my God, dude, it's just, everything just comes together into a delicious, immersive sandwich. And it's crazy how, you know, then when you go into Morph Ball, it goes kind of back into that third person, not side scroller, but more kind of left to right or right to left movement ish. And I think it's crazy how that works so well. You know, people be like, how does Samus fit into a little ball? Irrelevant. It's fun. It's crazy. And that's just what she's always been able to do. And I love how they were able to.
I did think of that until you just brought it up now. Like, how does she get into that ball?
Right. You know, Chozo artifact gear.
I know, but just like that can't be comfortable by any means.
But I think it's awesome how, you know, they made something like that, which, I mean, back when I was playing, my very first Metroid game was Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance before I played Prime. And I was like, oh, this Morph Ball thing is crazy. And, oh, it's so cool. And then I remember, like, when I first heard, you know, got Metroid Prime 2, I instantly thought of, like, oh, you know, Zero Mission and these games and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, how is, like, all this stuff going to work? You know, I was 8 or 9 years old, so I started to kind of have, you know, small thoughts like that. But I think it's crazy how they definitely translated pretty damn well from that 2D to 3D. Austin, like you were saying, there's sometimes, those awkward or clumsy moments where you're kind of like, oh, I had to use the visor to get to the thing. But that's more of just like a puzzle being a little awkward. She definitely does feel a little more tanky for sure than obviously in Dread, which, you know, one, because it's a newer game, of course, you know, more technology, things like that. And I think it would be cool seeing in Prime 4. You know, we get that kind of slide she had in Dread where she can slide underneath,
cool.
you know, platforms to get
a
away from.
A lot of first-person shooters do now. Yeah, I think Call of Duty,
like,
Fortnite's third person, but that, Apex Legends, like a lot of them have like a little slide mechanic.
Yeah.
The whole combat slide is, I think that'd be great, and it fits Samus perfectly.
So
and then kind of their iteration of her, you know, her combat slap that helps you parry. And then also I think they could, this is totally just, I mean, I'm not a game developer at all, of course, but it would be cool to have, you know, not only the grapple beam return, of course, you know, grapple beam's so fun, but also that Titanfall, you know how you can, you know, parkour and run on walls in Titanfall and you kind of have your hand on the wall.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like a spider, you know, system. You know how she has spider ball, so spider ball, but like for her hands where she can kind of attach to the wall, or maybe it's, you know, it combines with her.
Well, there is some precedent because
like
in Dread, there is like a mechanic where she kind of grabs onto a ledge and can kind of like So there you know, there's already like some precedent for that already in terms of Samus's moveset. So like I can see it for sure.
Yeah. And I think if you can like look over on the wall and you see her hand kind of doing that, you know, kind of just move, I think that would be great for how already great the game is with immersion. You know, I think Retro just really nails that, all those vibes, and that'd be cool to just, you know, see everything.
I'm just imagining Metroid Prime 4 right now. Like
I know,
like,
man.
in my head, it's like this super surreal, like you've never seen anything like it kind of world. Like I'm imagining like Samus like on some sort of like alien. It's like I'm thinking like not even like in a space station. I'm thinking like within like an exotic alien world, and her kind of like gliding along a wall, but there's like purple particles like flinging into her face because it's first person. It's just like I don't. In my head, it looks amazing, but it's like so hard to like imagine like what that will actually be when we eventually see it.
Yeah, we're getting our hopes up and stuff, and I'm like, uh-oh.
this will be a treat for sure. I really do think they're going to deliver with Prime 4 because, you know, as much as it hurts for, you know, the game obviously to be reset, you know, it's obviously for the best, as we all know, you know, the whole Shigeru Miyamoto quote.
God, I hope so.
And then, of course, them kind of keeping quiet about it. And then, you know, regrettably, we still haven't heard anything, you know, in this most recent direct. But I think we can all agree that it's for the best, that we're waiting as long as possible because of it's going to be, we're going to get that, Andreas. We're going to get the spores hitting her face.
Can't wait for it.
You know,
that'd be sick.
Yeah. I will mention that the Xbox Era podcast, the rumor came from there. I'm sure you guys heard of it, that someone has seen Prime 4 and it looks visually unbelievable. Like those are the words used, and that the areas look big and vast. And they compared it. They weren't saying it was necessarily open world. They weren't sure. They would assume no, but they compared it to Halo Infinite.
Sure. Okay.
Dude, even if the Switch is like still a generation behind, even if it's like PS3, PS4, I mean like or PS3, I'm gonna say PS4 slash like more. It's like I
Xbox
think the
One,
rumor is it's more powerful than the PS4, but
Yeah.
it's like not as powerful as current gen stuff. I think
Sure.
something like that. I don't know.
I think that's fine. You know, like PS4 Pro or Xbox One X, like
Well,
that's
like
good.
I'm not like if I'm gaming on the go,
We're
Yeah.
talking about
I
Switch
am
too, right?
totally okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Like with it not being like this stellar 4K, you need ray tracing.
Right.
I mean, it would be nice.
It would be very nice.
But it'd be neat to have like a system that like in handheld mode it like downgrades a bit, and then if you dock it like upgrades. Like maybe the dock has like hardware components that like kind of help it. Like maybe when it's in handheld mode, it's docked in with it's just running on its like CPU graphics, whatever, and then
Integrated graphics.
and then integrated graphics, and then when you dock it, it's like the dock is a graphics card or some shit.
There
There
was a patent before the Switch was announced for what was being called a supplemental computing device. So Nintendo has absolutely looked into that, and when Switch came out, I forget which executive it was at the time. It may have been Tatsumi Kimishima, because Nintendo had a changing of the helm, because Iwata had passed, and then there was an interim president, and there was Furukawa. So yeah, I think it was Tatsumi Kimishima. But anyways, a Nintendo executive had to clarify that when the Switch came out, that the dock didn't actually offer additional power. But it was confusing because when the Switch is docked, it does increase its clock speeds. Like the graphics are better because it does run at a higher spec range since it's plugged into a power source, and they don't have to impact the battery and things of that nature. I will tell you, right?
Tell me.
I mean, there's the articles from Video Games Chronicle and Eurogamer, right? If you buy into that and other sources, at Gamescom there were tech demos. And the tech demos have implications of different facets of NVIDIA's DLSS technology, which improves performance. It upscales resolution, and what the crazy part is that it was running Unreal Engine 5, the Matrix demo, in a lot of ways better than PS5 and Series X, which seems insane. But it's all because of like the AI upscaling and not just with resolution, but also with ray tracing. Yeah. So while the Switch 2 probably won't be like actually more powerful than those systems, with a lot of this DLSS stuff, in a lot of ways, it may compare in a lot of ways. There may be some things a little bit better, a lot of things worse, but I based off the rumors, which are coming from credible sources, you can't take it for like 100%, right? You gotta take it with a grain of salt, but it's very promising. It's very promising.
It is promising. I don't know, man. Nvidia and Nintendo have been getting very buddy, and I am so here for it. Nvidia makes great hardware and software, so like I am so here for that. I'm so here for that partnership, and it's hopefully the next generation. I mean, it's paid off with the Switch, because I think the Switch itself is a Nvidia board, right? Like it's a Nvidia chip and everything. Yeah, so it's already paid off in one aspect. So
that wasn't even a customized chip, by the way. Like that's like a stock Tegra X one with minimal changes. This Switch 2 would. From what we're hearing, right? We don't know everything.
It's like a custom NVIDIA design. Yeah.
So, Prime 4 running on that. I still think it's coming to Switch, right?
Crossed.
Like, I think it's cross-gen. I think us seeing it, not seeing it in the direct, I feel like that makes it, to me, it becomes very clear that the reason we're not seeing it is not because it's not ready. Because we've heard, I personally, right? Like, I don't know how much you'll trust me, but I personally have heard the game is like, basically done. I think Nintendo's just kind of saving it. They're still maybe in like a polishing stage. Like we heard recently that Tears of the Kingdom could have come out last year, but they held it for a year for polishing. That's where I think Metroid Prime 4 is at right now. And I think they're also saving it to showcase alongside Switch 2. We'll still have a decent Switch 1 version, I think. But
this has turned into a Switch 2 / Metroid Prime 4. The original Prime Game podcast.
We're like bouncing off
but the thing is, like, that's where we're at.
It's part of it.
Where we're at.
It's part of the discussion with the series, man. It is. No. I'll say one last final bit on this is I think that It'll be cool seeing it, and I think yeah, basically since I'm thinking I'm in the same line of thought as you. Since it wasn't in this direct, I think Switch 2 is coming next year. Like I think we will have it in our hands by next year sometime. I think that it's going to either be cross gen or it might just be next gen, just to push the console. I don't think they would do that, but it's a possibility. We'll see.
I can't. I want to say that shouldn't be the case, but I will concede it's possible, and
it's possible.
And I don't know who I talked to about this. I've talked about it before, but there is something about the way they showcase Prime 1 Remastered that did make me wonder if maybe they did it in that way because Prime 4 is no longer coming to Switch. And I don't want to say that because it's still it was announced for Switch. It's still technically listed for Switch. You know, Nintendo in general will make good on their promises.
I wouldn't mind because I'm buying it regardless.
Right, same for me.
For the average Joe Schmo, it would suck. Yeah. It would suck because it's like it forces their hand to experience it. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Back to the original series and the remaster, though. Let's talk about the remaster some more, though, as you brought up, Andre. So, remaster, it's the best looking game on Switch, honestly. It just is. It's
top
so
5
beautiful.
at least, right? Like, it's...
Yeah. Oh, top 3 minimum.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm not worried about
Violet.
Switch 1 version, though, because if that's where their engine's at to make Prime Remastered, like, they can totally... They can make something special.
Exactly. I think if I had to rank like the best looking game on Switch, I would say Prime Remaster's up there, Pikmin 4. I would say I would say Tears of the Kingdom looks better than the first Breath of the Wild, honestly. Just because I feel like Breath of the Wild's a little more empty, and then Tears of the Kingdom has a bit more color to it.
It has better textures,
but like the art,
some of the textures are more advanced.
And then the art style in general is just really good between both.
The
those
lighting
games.
in the sky, it's just
so pretty.
Yeah,
I love
exactly. And then I would say Odyssey, Mario Odyssey. Like
Odyssey looks good. Yeah,
Odyssey it's beautiful. Oh, Mario Kart 8. That's the other contender. I was playing. Okay, so we were doing this. We were playing Mario Kart 8. Oh my god, we're going on so many tangents. We were playing Mario Kart 8. We were on the battle mode.
Fun. We're just talking Nintendo.
I know. Yeah. And the Mario Kart 8 was like. It was like the battle maps look so good. I was like, what the hell? Because like in the battle maps, you kind of just like you slow down for a bit. You're like turning and like whatever. So I was able to like actually take in what was around me, and I was like, oh my god, this place looks amazing. Why isn't there like a game based in the? I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Anyways, so how do we feel about the remaster? How do we feel like the differences they did? I think we brought this up last time. The rain feature. So like when you're looking on your gun, you can see that. Well, one, the rain, you know, it hits your mask, which they did in the first game, but this one that they did, when you look up, the rain runs down your arm, and you look down, it runs down your arm, and it changes how it like fogs in your mask. I don't know, details like that just really show like how much care and love that they put into this game, and it just makes me like
amazing.
That's so cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that they do stuff like that. Like I said last time, one of my favorite little, you know, I don't want to say it's not an Easter egg, but just, you know, like attention to detail, I guess, is when you turn on the X-ray visor, each arm cannon, I always thought was like, when I was little, I thought it was like, oh, she clicks a little button maybe inside of the arm cannon or whatever, switches to wave beam or plasma. Exactly, but yeah, she you know she like flips off the camera. No, but
that's a special extra annihilator plasma god beam.
Yeah, when she does like the one in Dread where like it just completely just
feel mega.
That's what she's doing. She's just
No, but it's cool. So like the wave beam, you know, she has basically just her hand, just like in a full hand like this. I think the plasma is kind of like it's like, I want to say it's something like, it kind of looks like a gun almost a little bit, maybe like just with like the pinky out as well or something. But it's cool. If you turn on the X-ray visor, you can see her make the different hand gestures in order to switch to the respective beam that hand gesture, you know, represents or whatever. And then also, like you said, Austin, I think that whole rain thing just going up and down your arm.
So
I love it.
So sick. It's so good. Andres, what about yourself? Differences between the remaster and the original. How well do you think they did the remaster?
Yeah, so I think they did a lot of amazing things. It's interesting because it's called remastered, but a lot of people feel it looks like a remake. And it's interesting because you ask a developer, you ask the devs, they'll say it's a remaster, and it really just comes down to what the code is. Like the underlying code is still the original Metroid Prime, and it may be one of those cases where doing a remaster is actually better than a remake, because had they done a remake, they don't necessarily use the base code. And it's when you play Prime Remastered, it feels like Metroid Prime. You are still playing Metroid Prime. It has some of those quality of life updates that kind of make it gives you the different control options, right? You can play with, you got the gyro controls, you have dual analog controls. You can still play like with the Joy-Cons to have like that Wiimote set up. You can still emulate the GameCube style of control too, and you can customize things. So there's a lot of control options. It still feels and plays like Metroid Prime, but visually they rebuilt the game. And it as we kind of mentioned earlier, it's one of, if not the best looking games ever. Like they use some very advanced things. It's apparently still the same engine as the original Metroid Prime. It's just been updated. Wow. It's been continually built and worked on over these years, right? So obviously it's not the same thing anymore, but it's kind of
that's impressive,
just iterative, right? And so you look at this and it kind of blows your mind. Like the way it blew my mind back then, in some ways, Prime Remastered kind of blows my mind now. Like in some ways, it feels like it can't even be a Switch game. Like that's how good it looks. It's one of my favorite games for sure. Definitely one of the best games of the year. I think on Metacritic, Prime Remastered came out as a 94. Like it's just crazy. But overall, Prime Remastered, there are some little things that they weren't able to emulate from the initial version. Like when you blast the arm cannon, you don't see as much light. But overall, like visually, did so many cool tricks. You mentioned like the rain trickling down the arm cannon, and it's the best way to play Metroid Prime, and it's amazing. And a lot more people have gotten a chance to try it now, it's cool because it's a masterpiece.
Agreed. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I mean, we're just gonna sit here, just absolutely inflate the ego of this game, the people who made it. It's just fantastic, man. Yeah, and I guess the end of that question is like, did it do it justice?
Oh yeah.
So.
For sure. For sure.
Tenfold. Okay. Do we believe the entire trilogy? I mean, I'm sure we all think that the entire trilogy needs to be remastered, right? Like, I think so, especially just because like I have never even played 2 or 3. I have them, but I never actually cracked them open and finally like, all right, let's do this. At least to my knowledge, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see, but I can check the GameCube whatnots. If they did a remaster of those games, is there anything additional you would want them to add, or do you think just keeping it true to form and like kind of doing how they did with the first Prime game, it would be the way to go? I mean, I think it'd be interesting to add something new or some new things. I just don't know what that exactly would look like, especially because I haven't played the games. So I think I'm gonna let you guys talk to it more. But like I think my initial thought is like, oh, maybe that could be cool. But otherwise, I would say, maybe keep it true to form. I think that would be the safer route. So let's start with Gabe. Let's start with Andre twice last time. So
I mean, same thing as Prime 1 remaster, just, true to form. I think, though, that for Prime 2, the end game, before, you fight the final boss, you have to collect... We're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay, so in Prime 1, you get the artifacts are like, you get 9 artifacts. Those are the keys. In Prime 2, you don't really have access to getting all of those artifacts in the game. I think they're called the Incash keys or the Dark Sky Temple keys or
some kind of key.
Yeah, it's just keys. Metroid Prime loves their keys. I never had an issue with them. I get why people would, but I mean, I just love exploring the world. So the worlds are so alive in the Prime games that I'm okay with doing that. I think the Sky Temple keys are a little bit more tedious because you can't start collecting them until a bit later in the game compared to Prime 1. Prime 1, you can get one practically in the beginning after you get like the first few of your abilities back. Like once you're in the Magmore Caverns and you come back with a double jump, I'm sure there's people who can kind of, just do their crazy tricks and things to not use a double jump to get it. But you can get that the very first lava room where you see a Magmore. There is a pillar right in the middle you can blow up, and that's where one of the That's where one of the artifacts is, right there. And you basically can start from the beginning getting all 9 keys. It would be cool if maybe in Prime 2, if there was like maybe a system you could use other than just the notes you get on the pillars beneath the Sky Temple in order to unlock those keys. I don't know. I don't want to say like a dowser like in Skyward Sword, because that would make it maybe a little too easy. But
yeah, in Prime 1,
you have a fee come out, and she's like, "Hey, go over here.
Yeah.
Your
Hey,
Switch
master.
battery's low."
I recommend killing this enemy, by the way.
So I think in Prime
sorry.
1, where you go to the Chozo Temple, like I think it's actually 12 artifacts. It might be 9 in Prime
12.
2.
I think it's 9 in Prime 2.
That might be what it is. But like, there's a place where you can basically scan these different statues, and it gives you a very, very strong hint in terms of where the artifact is on the map. Like, it basically tells you the name of it, and if you look at it, you can match it to what you've explored on the map. I don't remember how they handle the keys in Prime 2. You probably are more aware of that because you played more Prime 2 than I. Prime 2 is the only Metroid game I have not beaten. I've beaten every other Metroid game.
Ooh.
I always get stuck at the end when I have to collect the keys.
Yeah.
So as you're saying, like, if they could maybe do something to make it just a little bit easier to find, or maybe I should just man up and just do it. But yeah, like, I'm kind of hoping that once they announce a Prime 2 remaster, that I will actually beat the game then, because I'm an adult now. I have more opportunity. I'll be able to do it. But maybe, just kind of mimic what they did for Prime 1 to find them. I think that would probably work.
Yeah.
They did the same thing where you scan something in order to get a hint. The hints are a little bit more vague, I will say, but instead of scanning the pillars themselves, I think you either scan the pillars or there's like luminoth around them that you scan. I want to say you just scan the big circular locks, and it'll say, "Oh, this is in a toxic pool within the dark world, within the dark catacombs," which that's Torvus Bog catacombs, in a pool. But it's a lot more vague. Maybe with your echo visor in Metroid Prime 2, there is maybe like a sonar or some kind of echo that shows you in a room that's a little bit more obvious that it's right there in the dark world. I know some rooms you can see the floating ink cache, which is where the keys are.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the light world, you can turn on the dark visor and see a silhouette of it, just floating there.
You know what's funny though?
But yeah, I mean,
because for the Prime Trilogy version, supposedly they made Prime 2 easier. It's still hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
They did. They made it easier to beat.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I don't know what they changed, but they
changed.
supposedly changed something to make it easier. The thing about Prime 2 is that the change, like going
Maybe
between
the
the light
enemy
and
is not
dark
as
world,
bad.
it's hard. Like, the dark world is not
It
a
is.
nice place. It's
Not at all, especially in the beginning when you will get
yeah,
eaten
and you'll
up.
lose your resources, and it's hard to see because it's the dark world, and there's sludge monsters everywhere. The ink are gonna just tear you apart. Like,
Wow.
it's a very scary, dark place, and that's where the keys
is.
are.
Yep. But and then Prime 3 honestly kind of holds your hand with.
I would say it
items,
doesn't too much.
especially-
Yeah,
Yeah, it like especially
Yeah, for
it's in
real.
Skytown Elysia where you unlock all the items on the map. They put little like just white dots on the map for you when you get to that certain point, and like cool, but it's kind of it almost defeats the fun collectathon.
Yeah.
Metroid.
I think they streamlined Prime 3
Well,
too much. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
Had a lot of fun, I think it focused a little too much more on combat than it did exploration, adventuring. It was just a little too much, nothing too drastic, but I still love
they're
Prime
all
3.
they're all fantastic games. Like, it's kind of like,
Agreed.
what they're all good. It's just like which one I would probably rank Prime 1 as number 1, and then like I've beaten Prime 3, but Prime 3 is easy. Prime 2,
Yeah.
Is it?
Prime 2 is kind of more of like that Prime 1, just like a little tougher. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of the black sheep of the thing, I get, because Dark World and the England, but it's so I always feel a little quirky, not like other girls, saying it's my favorite one. Just I don't know. I mean, the whole ammo situation in Prime 2, I think was it was interesting because in Prime 1 you have infinite ammo for whatever beams you're using. I never found myself having too much trouble with that, but that's ultimately up to each individual.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to stay on topic in terms of like if there's anything they should do differently. I think, if we're talking about remasters, like, I don't think they can just change what Prime 3 is. I think it pretty much has to stay as is. It's still a great game.
Yeah.
There are motion control stuff, which you can still do with the Joy-Cons, but they would have to figure how they adapt that to Switch controls. And I think it'd be something as simple as just kind of playing around the analog sticks. The Switch has extra buttons. You can mimic the motion controls with the sticks. They literally did this with Skyward Sword. So it's definitely doable.
Well,
yeah.
And in the first person, you don't even need really the motion controls. You could just look around. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things. It's just easier. I mean, not saying a gyro isn't like gyro for pointing first person. I mean, that's pretty good. I wonder how that would play against like somebody who does like keyboard mouse. But anyways, yeah, that'd be an interesting test to have. But anyways, yeah, no, I agree. I think those are all valid changes and valid like things that you could change and things that you would probably want to keep the same. So, Gabe, it's that time of the day. It's time for some music.
Music. I'm going to go ahead and I do have my web audio good to go. Okay, so
Yippee!
I did practically all the same tracks from last time. I kind of streamlined them throughout like the game's experience though, so it kind of follows along.
That's fine.
Of course, I had to start with the Talon Overworld theme, the main theme from the very beginning that has a motif from Brinstar. Where is the share option?
Share it. Share it with me. Share with
avatars. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this is when you first set down onto Talon on Talon 4 the planet and get out of your ship. Just kidding, that's underwater. We're going
I was going to say. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Just
so cool.
Sat down on Talon 4 after getting off the prop.
It's so funny how like I think I said this last time. So in every like 4-hour Nintendo music to listen to study to music, there's a lot of tracks from Metroid Prime, and I did not realize how many were from this game. Like the water one you were just playing, which we'll get back to. I mean, I think this one maybe, I don't know, I have to listen to it more, but there's like so many that are, and then the Ice World, which we'll see later. It's crazy, just like for a game that's about like, you know, oh, it's a Metroid and she's in danger and there's so many hardcore badass things. It's very like, music is very calm and chill, and it's
very
neat.
melodic and very superhero-y. This song definitely has a little bit of an ominous vibe to it, but it's ultimately just kind of just mysterious in a foreign, alien, you know, pretty world, you know, setting down. Samus is yet again in a very tropical, or not really tropical, but I don't know.
Tropical is crazy.
Like tropical. Well, I guess this is technically tropical because it's
natural,
you know, exotic. There we go. Yeah.
Is my island in the sun?
Humid. It's definitely humid.
Very humid.
Humid. Yeah, jungle. I know what you meant.
It's
Jungle
jungly.
and jungle-esque. Yeah.
This song definitely, it takes a minute to set off, but it's like I said, it has a motif from Brinstar, and it's just slow to build because you're just stepping foot onto this new world. And then Master Chief comes out and just
There he is.
There he is.
And here it is, the motif, or like the homage, rather.
Yep.
That's so sick.
Is that boy singing, bro?
It's so good. It's so cool.
Takes a little bit to build up, but this is the crescendo right here it builds too, and it's we're on Talon 4. What are you gonna do?
This is okay. So this is when you're on the planet. Okay.
Yep.
This is sick. That one piano key. Did the dink.
That's must be.
All right, Talon 4 Overworld.
So this is the Talon Overworld theme 2. So this is, I think, after you get either the space jump boots, or after it's later in the game when this starts going. Obviously, it takes a while, but I do like the song. It's reminiscent. Well, I guess it was before Torvus Bog, but it makes me think of Torvus Bog. Yeah, and I think it's great for the swampy, foresty, tropical environment. Yeah.
Oh. Time to vibe.
Yeah.
Got a jazz feel to it.
Yeah,
but then it has that little bit of corruption.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can't even like recreate that sound. It's so unique.
It's very like, the only thing I can describe it is as it sounds like something's been corrupted. Such a good fucking.
This song definitely represents being later in the game and kind of having an established power already. You got all of your missiles, but you have a bunch of missiles now. You have different beams. You have your morphball abilities. You're ready to go. Frick shit up, okay?
Yeah, this is definitely a theme of like. It's something I could see this being in a thing of like someone's trying to be stealthy, but they're being badass and at the same time, and they got everything planned out and they know they're gonna mess at everything. Yeah, it's such a cool vibe.
Next one, of course, we got to do the Phendrana Drifts. Everybody knows this. This is another, cozy Nintendo song to sleep to, study to, whatever to.
Yep.
Commit tax fraud to, Austin. Just all this.
Oh yeah.
I love that background too, because this is the first view you get when you're in Phendrana Drifts proper. Once you're outside of like that vestibule tunnel area.
Yeah.
Obviously, fan art right here.
Like I say every time, it's always awesome when they can communicate a cold winter theme without using sleigh bells.
Yes.
And they do it very well here. It's not a sleigh bell in sight. Go ahead,
I was just gonna say you kind of feel like this echoey vibe, right? I think I mentioned last time that like this makes you feel like you're in a giant ice cavern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You kind of just like those very just bouncy, like because sound will bounce off of ice and cold areas like that. It definitely represents all of that.
It feels
very
like
chilling.
they're playing the music on the ice almost.
Yeah.
Or off of it, or some sort of.
Like I'm pretty sure this is the overworld theme for Antarctica.
Yeah. Once you step foot down in Antarctica.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Do you think Santa listens to this song up at the North Pole?
Yeah.
No, it definitely has sleigh bells in it. Here's the Mario 64 Cool Mountain theme.
Yeah, Cool Mountain.
You ever work do a holiday job, like a seasonal job where you're working in the
I used to
store,
work retail
and play like the Christmas music the entire time.
Yes. Bing Crosby 24/7 on a little, radio that's in front of the cash register.
See, my whole thing though is I'm such a bitch for Christmas. I love Christmas.
Yeah,
even with
me
all
too.
that stuff, I love it. I eat it up. I'm such a consumer. I love capitalism as I wear my pro-union shirt.
I'm just saying though, anyone out there that's listening, if you have the chance, if you're working a seasonal job, maybe slip in some Phendrana music to kind of change that pace of jingle
Just
bells.
slip in some ice themes from random Nintendo
It'd be
games.
so sick.
Cool Mountain.
Yes. Oh, it'd be so good.
That'd be so funny.
If you pick some Mario songs, people won't bat an eye because they do a good job of giving you the Christmas feel.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true. Yeah.
Or you could, if it's in the middle of the summer, July, August, you could do Lethal Lava Land.
There you go.
You're in a Target. It's like, imagine like a Target outside of Arizona. And it's just like wow. It's like blaring it outside of their like the establishment. the heat wave and just.
On the sliding doors, there's just like that fire demon face for Lethal Lava Land. You're like, welcome to LLL, by the way. But this is also
we did the Mario 64 episode yesterday, so we still have some jokes from that. Yes.
Yeah, we're still thinking about the music that never leaves our head.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Anyways,
this is Phendrana's Edge. This is once you're towards the getting the gravity suit in Phendrana's, and it's very it's vibey. You're like, what? Okay, this is another song.
Another one. This is another one that I love.
It definitely portrays progress in the game. You're a badass space marine bounty hunter lady. Your arsenal's finally coming together. You have all these weapons and abilities at your disposal, and you're still going. But
I definitely agree with that sentiment, though. This when you get to this point, you start to feel like things are coming together.
Yeah,
right.
The game. Yeah, this is what I think we mentioned this last time. I'm gonna keep a counter of how many times we all said this. Because I'm pretty sure we've said it like over 50 times now. I'm pretty sure we mentioned this last time where Phendrana Drifts is kind of like the last calm spot you get in the game before the game like kicks off. Like in terms of like the story, the lore, the difficulty gets really a lot harder, and this is like that first area that you really encounter that's like that.
It's
pretty badass.
it still has like a cooling, you know, like a chilly, you know, but like more underwater, of course, because of that. Because you're gonna spend most of your time in Findrena's Dread underwater, in Findrena's Edge underwater. Oh my goodness, can I enunciate?
Findrena's Dread. Man, what if?
There you go. Yeah, the
What
crossover
if
we're waiting for.
Prime 4 brings back the dreads? That would be sick. Because I kind of love the Emmys. I think that's what they're called.
Oh, yeah.
Emmys.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love those things as a concept. They were so terrifying, and they were awesome. They were awesome. I felt in such a state of panic every time I was around. That would be cool if they could emulate something like that in. But then again, that would almost feel like a Five Nights at Freddy's game. What's the most security watch?
Oh yeah.
Where you have like an animatronic that's gonna get you.
You could do something really creepy with that though. Like imagine in Metroid Prime 4 there is like these robot statues, or they seem like robot statues, but very subtly there are those moments they move and you're like, what? And then eventually they attack.
Or it doesn't even have to be the whole game. It could just be like a part of the game
sequence
that it explores that concept, you know? Like it'd just be like an area with those kinds of enemies. I don't know. That'd be pretty sick. Anyways.
What if Silex had like one of the areas, you know, say Findrena Drifts, that's Meta Ridley's area. What if like in there, you know, in Prime 4, Silex had like a main lair that you had to sneak through, and if you were caught in the spotlight or whatever, he sent his henchmen after you, and they were cool. Tougher than the regular common enemy.
Yeah. Something along those lines. Anyways. Yeah.
Shot coil, you don't want to get hit back because then he's gonna get health back and you're gonna lose health. Yeah, it's absolutely. There we go. Come on, Nintendo, hire us.
Spoos Pirates. Spoos Pirates.
So this is the Space Pirate battle. I forgot to do this one last time, but this one's pretty cool. I think the Prime 3 is my favorite version of the song, but this one's iconic, of course. It starts off very kind of creepy, like lurking around. You know, these guys you've been fighting with since the NES. Look at them. They're these big 3D badasses. They're going to eat you. They're going to tickle you with their
What an
death
interesting
lasers.
like sound they're using here. Like that. It sounds like it sounds almost like an enemy or something. It doesn't even sound like sound for the music. Ooh, this is intense. Oh yeah, this is when you're fighting like the ones that fly around and shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember. I've gotten a decent way through the game.
I still remember my first playthrough. Well, I mean, it's still creepy going in the pirates' first lair, you know, their first laboratories or whatever in Findrena. Yeah. But because Findrena it's such a chill region, literally and figuratively. You know, you feel kind of more safe there than you do in the other places. And then you step into the labs and you're like, shit.
This isn't safe at all.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger. This is fine.
A good boss theme.
Yeah, great theme.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have a boss theme finally, because unfortunately a lot of the bosses in this game, the earlier bosses, don't have the best themes. They're very just like lackluster, kind of just generic. But Thardus, he's a cool rock baddie.
I remember this one.
Findrena's Drift. Keep saying
it's like it almost communicates horror, but not quite. But it's like, oh shit, tense.
Very overwhelming. You know, you just need to keep moving. You can't just like chill at all during this battle. You keep going, keep firing.
Yep.
And that's kind of how the combat goes, because you have to switch between visors. You know, which beam do you want to use? Do you want to use the wave beam, which is easier to hit him with, but it's a lot weaker, or do you want to use super missiles, which will always take out one of his limbs? At least on normal mode. Very frantic.
I didn't know there was a hard mode. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Whoa. It's actually
like a master mode or whatever.
I hope Prime 4's hard mode is more than just you do half damage, they do twice damage. Because I would love to see maybe their AI like a bit more sporadic, a little bit more, you know, like how Legendary is on Halo with the elites. Their AI is better.
Yeah, they actually have object permanence.
Like I want to see a boss fight where, you know, if in hard mode it has a different attack line, like it has a new move that throws you off. Like that gives you more reason to replay the game again and just see more interactions.
Yeah,
I agree.
And maybe they're even like Dark Souls level of hard, where it's like you kind of just need to. It's to a point where you kind of have to just learn the patterns and just get good. Just get good to beat the
Just
thing.
get good, bro.
I don't
Learn
know.
the patterns
I enjoy that kind of genre of game a lot. I don't know. That could be very limiting, but that's the only
Problem with
argument I really
Metroid is
see.
that it's so niche, right? Like they want the series to
Uh-huh.
become big and popular. It's harder to do when a
Yeah.
game is challenging, but I mean the Soulsborne series, like that's pretty mainstream. And they're
I mean, Elden Ring sold great, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you know.
Maybe they can do like optional bosses in Prime 4 that are.
They managed to meet
So
in the middle.
Other
and
M
all
had
that,
a-
so.
I know everyone hates Other M, but Other M had a optional secret end game boss, which was kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you?
I never knew that.
When you beat the game, continue playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep going.
I need to actually put effort
Yeah.
into the game this time and not throw it away after 15
Yeah.
minutes. But this is Austin. This is what you're talking about earlier. It's the crashed frigate Orpheon. So this is the ship you're on in the beginning of the game, but obviously once it's already crashed, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The whole adventure is just it's just so actiony and awesome and badass and stuff. But guess what? We're gonna just take a second to relax. A little 80s kind of synthy.
Some synth in there, just to keep that like you're still in a spaceship, but it's all underwater. It's all like
Right.
calm now, though.
You guys know like older Star Wars and Star Trek and how the scientific music and all that music and it's always a little
Yeah.
corny sounding. This has a little bit of that like synthy corny charm, like 80s, 70s.
Yeah,
You know,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I would agree.
it's so hard to put
Such a
it into
great-
words
Again,
for
I'm-
music when you're trying to describe it. You know,
I am getting whiplash back to me at like 2 in the morning in the Fenwick Library of the college I went to, and
Oh yeah.
I might need to even bleep that out because it's pretty specific.
Yeah.
To the library that I used to study in college, just cramming for chemistry, and this just blaring in my ears. I have more association with. Isn't it? It's kind of sad. I have more association with that than I do the actual game. Like the
I mean,
memories.
hey man, I'm the same way, bro. I am the same way with a lot of game
Dude, there's
soundtracks
like
and-
things, it's specifically with Minecraft or games where I'm like building the stuff. I can always associate what I've built in the game to what I was listening to at the time. Like it's just like an instant click. It gets so weird. I don't know. And in fact, it actually helped me like study for certain like lectures and stuff in college because I would like be building stuff in Minecraft, and then I would remember when I was like, especially when we did like online learning, I like remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I was building this bridge, and we were talking about covalent bonds and stuff, and we were talking about the metallurgic structure of metals and how cold welding how cold welding does this thing. Yeah, I'm such a fucking mechanical engineer. Can you tell? Anyways, I'm just saying, like it's crazy how it works in my brain like that.
Yeah.
But it does. I don't know what it is. So I guess it's just the visual learner or visual auditory connection.
I smell memories.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Anyways, yeah, that's a great song. Great memories with it. Maybe not great, but
But memories that you can remember. No, I'm just kidding. Water is wet. But memories that you definitely can associate that song to.
water. It's wet. Oh my
This
God.
song is a banger. I would start fighting Meta Ridley just to pause like the actual game, just so I could listen to this song.
Yeah.
I've done that with other bosses before. Meta Ridley's theme when you're fighting him just before you actually get into the impact crater.
It's iconic.
Yeah, iconic. It's been brought back, of
Yep.
course, so many times. It has his original Ridley theme from
Yeah, that
the
bump
older
bump
Metroid
bump
games.
bump 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 bump.
They've used this theme in a few because
that-
you fight Ridley more than once in the Prime series. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is remixed quite a few times.
Right.
This is your canonically second time, I believe, because
Because the
actually it's the first time that you're fighting him in his like robot form.
right. Because this is
'Cause
after
the-
Metroid 2, right?
Yes.
This game, I
And
think.
so yeah, because you sent him into the
Super Metroid?
lava, and then they got
Is it before
Huh?
Super Metroid?
I think so.
I got to double
Yeah.
check my timeline.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's the first time that you fight him in his like robot animatronic form. Animatronic? I don't know. That's the right. Cyborg. That's the better term. Cyborg form.
Yeah, there you go.
Because he was like rescued from lava. Spoiler in Metroid 2. you sent him into lava, and then the pirates like rescued him and saved it and replaced his parts and all that. So, yeah, a great theme, a great boss theme.
We love
And
that
of course
theme.
the final Metroid Prime theme.
That's right. This is the first. There's 2 phases for the Metroid Prime.
Just by the way,
actually trying to think
I
which
just
one
double
would
checked
be-
the timeline. Like all the Prime games happened before Metroid 2.
Oh, okay, shit. I thought it was.
Oh, so it is
1
the
and
second
2,
time.
and then
So it is the second time that
Interesting.
you've encountered him.
Yes,
technically.
yes. If it was after
Cool.
Metroid 2, that would get a little messy because
Yeah,
there's a
okay,
remake
so-
that kind of changes things.
Oh man.
No. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. It's Samus Returns is the original, and then the Return of Samus is
The remake that's
the 3DS.
Yeah, so
right?
Metroid 2 Return of Samus is the
Yeah.
original, and then Metroid Samus Returns is the remake, which adds some extra
Okay.
stuff at the end, which is really cool, and I'm glad they did it, but
the
It throws
timeline's
things-
fucked. It's all
changes it.
fucked.
It's like fucking Ocarina, bro. Just shit up.
Anyways,
sorry.
Metroid
Yeah,
Prime.
anyways,
Let's
this
listen
is
to
the first phase of Metroid Prime. I always love this. I would pause this song, the game as well, just to listen to this. Very creepy.
Oh yeah.
Gives me Flowey from Undertale vibes. Like almost like a chaotic evil.
Yeah,
It
I do
doesn't
like
really
this
have
form
any...
a lot
Oh, go ahead.
more than the second phase, because the second phase is really just a waiting game. But this one you can kind of take at your own pace.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
This has eldritch horror music written about it. Like it
Yes.
makes it feel like you're fighting some sort of amalgamation. It's not even like it's not even some
Organic.
like good, I'm not saying it's not a bad villain. It's not even some sort of like, it's not like an organized like thing that's like, oh, I'm evil because I'm being evil. It's more of just this like amalgamation awful thing that's like just once is literally exists because it is evil.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Absolutely. It just wants to. It's like the flood. It just consumes all because a little different, of course, but it's evil just
Yeah.
because it's evil.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, for me,
no-
like just thinking about Metroid Prime, the creature slash character, it's interesting because its core concept is this Metroid, right? And it is a product of evil or greed or what have you from the space pirates and the experiments
Yeah.
and mutations gone wrong, right? And then, well, there's also the seed, that crash landed here. So there's different elements to it, but when you realize
Yeah.
there's an intelligence behind this, it just starts to get scarier, right? Like you have this mega force that's threatening the entire planet or the cosmos, as the Chozo will suggest in their different lore entries.
Yeah.
There's a lot here, and when you're having the fight, there's weight. What do you think about it, at least?
Yeah, the idea of those like seeds, like a planet that is like spreading seeds that wants to consume other planets is such a cool concept.
It
Because
is.
like, and I think it's kind of sort of been explored like with the Flood and Halo, but I don't I've never seen it explored as in depth as it has been in like the Metroid games, at least the Prime series, at least.
You have to read a lot of like the external lore and stuff to learn
Yeah,
about, the
you do.
precursors and all that other stuff in Halo, lore. And I have not read any of those books, so I know from David, he read a lot of it, and you have obviously the Forerunners, the precursors.
Yeah.
Why the Flood is like an abomination, a bastardization of science experiments gone wrong, and the Didact creating the Prometheans to combat the Flood. Basically, the Prometheans are just human beings or Forerunners turned into coding. And then put inside of a big metal suit,
Yeah, and it's that concept is just so it's neat. It's a cool one, and it's cool that there's still like game series that are exploring that. So
Right.
all right,
Good theme though. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
3 minutes.
do you have another? Oh no, you're good. Okay, cool. I thought you had
Andres, do you
another
want me to do any that you can think of, or did we scratch all the itches?
Well, we I think some of these I suggested last time, so we kind of scratched the itches.
part?
I think we got some
Cool.
of the good ones.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here on the Boost V podcast. Let's go ahead and rate this game and get the heck out of here. I give this game, at least the remastered from what I've
3.
played so far, it's dog shit now.
Not enough
I
water.
have to leave early. Guys.
He's like
300.
he's gonna
Ooh.
forget that he pressed the record button again.
Yeah.
No, I saw it like 9.5. Honestly, close to a 10. It's like one of the best games on Switch. If somebody ever asked me like, "Hey, I just got a Switch," and they're like, I'm not a hardcore gamer, but like they're really into like challenging or more challenging games or more like immersive games and stuff like that. I'm like top 3 is always like Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and this game. Like they're just so good. They're just so good. Especially this one. This one's so good. I just can't believe how well it holds up to modern standards, being a GameCube game. Yeah, that's my piece on it. We'll go to Andres and then we'll end with Gabe.
So in terms of what I would score the game. So the original is a masterpiece, 10 out of 10, no doubt in my mind for its time, right? But obviously, as standards change over the years, like we're talking about 2 decades ago, like, you know, things have gone pretty advanced, right? But despite that, you know, the remaster, which stays pretty much true to the game with just some quality of life updates and improved visuals, it's still in that conversation for one of the best games of the year. So if I give it a score,
agreed.
And I always say this, I'm pretty sure I said this last time too, but scores are kind of arbitrary, right? It really depends on the person and what you feel, and just even the time you're in your life, right? Because sometimes you'll play a game, you'll hate it, you'll play it 3 months later and realize you love it, or vice versa. But that all said, I would say Prime Remastered is a 9.5. It's pretty much like the perfect experience. Like if I think of a way they could have made it a 10, I do, even though there's a lot of different control options and customizations, there is something about switching the visors and the beams that I wish was a little bit smoother, because you kind of have to stop your movement somewhat to do it. So, you know, I do wish that maybe it came up with a slightly better way to do that. Otherwise, you know, I don't know. They could have technically added more content, right? Because some of Nintendo's remasters, remakes do have that. But, you know, I'm really just kind of like nitpicking here. Like it's a fantastic game. It's one of the best games ever made. So I would give the Switch version a 9.5, which is stellar.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and, give us the trifecta of 9.5s through and through for both the original and the remake itself. Yeah, round of applause, boys! But I think the game, it's so fun. It's, you know, the atmosphere, the music, the visuals, the gameplay, the combat, everything comes together, like I said last time, as this big, juicy, delicious Metroid sandwich, whether it's a cold cut or it's a hot, fresh out of the oven toasted sub, whatever you prefer. But the only
love
very
my toasted subs. Sorry,
I do. Sometimes sometimes I want a cold sub. Sometimes I want toasted. But whenever you have the right one, you're like, oh, that hit the spot.
That was it. Anyway,
this game always hits the spot. But anyway, oh, you're good, man. The only small things. I wish there was like kind of a central hub, which they did fix in Prime 2 with the temple grounds being, you can go from this place to temple grounds or this place to, it sucks a little bit having to go from Fendrana all the way back to Talon 4 or to the Phazon mines, because Fendrana is disconnected completely. I never really cared too much, because that's the whole point of a Metroidvania. You kind of got to go through all of it, but I mean, still, it could maybe just a little bit of it takes back just a little bit in that regard. But I mean, that's really all I can think about. I think they nailed really everything else, man. I still love the world as it is. Even though Magmore Caverns never had its own, official boss. I still love Magmore Caverns. It happens. I always thought that was silly, but I was like, come on, give me a lava demon or something.
Yeah, there were some cut boss ideas. Like there was 2 different bosses that could have been added to the final game, but they changed things around. I think Thardis, if I'm not I could be mistaken, but I believe Thardis at one point was gonna be the Magmore Caverns boss, and they had this giant Sheegoth like humanoid monster thing, and they that was scrapped, so Thardis became like the ice boss, and there was also the Kraid. There was a Meta Kraid, and that was cut as well. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so sick, man! Seeing a Kraid in
we did get
person.
Kraid in Dread though, so which just looked pretty sick.
We did. That was cool.
But maybe Kraid in Prime 4.
That was cool. Prime 4, first person Kraid, and Matt going on his gross, disgusting.
I can't wait to
belly button legs.
His belly button. Yeah.
I just want to see the ooze.
All right. Anyway, Andres, where can they find you in the internet?
Not in the ooze. Just Andres Restart. ANDRES RESTART. That is my YouTube name. I predominantly do stuff on YouTube, daily Nintendo videos and other things. You can find me on Twitter, same thing, Andres Restart, and that's it.
Hell yeah. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Boosted View podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. This is really weird. We're recording this after Mario 64, but the next episode that will come out on the channel will be Mario 64. We are officially launching our Mario series. It's happening. We're doing it. The quacks are crazy. They're not going to pick up in the recording either.
Oh.
So thanks everybody so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching.